Hello and welcome to Generation 16, the series that showcases the history of Sega's Mega Drive. I'm your host, Greg Seward. Here we are, the almighty Musha. What you're looking at is one of the most revered, most sought-after games on the Genesis. Hard to believe, looking back, that it came out so early in the system's life. M.U.S.H.A, or M.U.S.H.A in Japan, is actually part of a long-running series, though not one that was well known in the USA during the early 90s. It began life, as so many compile games did, on the MSX computer. The original game featured a more high-tech setting than we see in M.U.S.H.A and was ported to the Sega Mark III and Master System in 1988, the same year it was released for the MSX. The Master System version was localized to English under the name Power Strike. While it was a general release in the UK, in the US it was attainable only through mail order, hence the crappy black and white box art. Compile followed it up quickly with a sequel in 1989, which introduced the character of Eleanor. Compile was founded in 1983 as a company called Programmers 3 Incorporated and was a prolific developer on the MSX computer platform. Founder Masamitsu Nitani was unique in that he was one of the few game company executives who was an active developer on his projects. Compile earned a reputation as a creator of interesting shooters, but was in dire financial straits around the time Sega approached it to port the arcade games N-Sub, Safari Hunting, and Borderline to the SG-1000 console. It was the beginning of a long and fruitful relationship between the two companies. But Compile wasn't exclusive to Sega or its consoles. Over the years, it created some true classics on other consoles, like Alien and Devil's Crash for Naxat, and the almighty Blazing Lasers for the PC Engine and TurboGrafx 16. The Alesta series was born when Mitani realized that his company needed a franchise. Musha Aleste is not Compile's first appearance on the Mega Drive. It's also credited with co-developing the early classic Ghostbusters. M.U.S.H.A was originally a Mega Drive port of Alesta 2. According to main programmer Yuichi Sotoyama, this had been put on hold, and the development team wanted to take the series in a new direction. Designer Kazuyuki Nakashima came up with the idea of an aesthetic overhaul, dropping the high-tech futuristic look for a more traditional Japanese style. He described presenting this in a Compile planning meeting with documents that featured a character in an armored robot and a no-mask enemy with mounted cannons. Musha Alesta was born. In a 1993 interview, founder Nitani said that Compile thought Americans would be interested in, quote, traditional Japanese stuff. Compile had toyed with a similar idea in 1989's Alesta Gaiden for the MSX2, which featured Japanese-style robotic suits and ground-based combat. The fact that M.U.S.H.A started life as an Alesta 2 port for the Mega Drive might explain why Eleanor is the main character in this game. After all, she was originally introduced in Alesta 2. M.U.S.H.A features fewer than 10 levels, but they're extremely intense. Even on the easiest setting, this game offers a monstrous challenge for rookie shooter fans. But something about it keeps you coming back for more, death after death after death. One of the most interesting things about covering games in chronological order like this is seeing the evolution of popular play mechanics. When it comes to shooters, the Powerup Systems are always worth taking a closer look. M.U.S.H.A features a few different elements. Your main weapon is the cluster beam, which looks suspiciously like Japanese kunai daggers. This weapon can be upgraded by collecting power chips, which spew out of chip carriers when you shoot them. The power chips are one of the defining features of the Alesta series. Every now and then, a container will fly onto the screen, and with each hit, it spits out a power chip. The challenge is to grab as many of these as possible before they fall off the bottom of the screen. Not an easy task when you're being bombarded by enemy fire. Secondly are the option weapons. There are 3 of these: a beam, bombs, and an energy shield. Each of these can be upgraded 4 times and act as extra protection. Getting hit while you have a special weapon just results in losing that weapon rather than losing a life. Last are the offensive options. These little ships are collected via power chips as well, and can switch formation around your main ship as needed. You can collect loads of the options, which are placed in storage and carry over from one life to the next. These little guys are really handy, especially being able to adjust their firing patterns to each new situation. M.U.S.H.A has earned every bit of credit it gets now. It set a new standard for vertical shooters on the Mega Drive, attaining a level of quality that none had reached before. Kind of like Thunder Force 3 did for horizontal shooters on the system. Unfortunately, it was also apparently released in limited supply here in North America. Its scarcity, coupled with its cult status, means as of this recording, complete in-box copies of Musha go for upwards of $500 on the used market. Even a loose cartridge can run you in the hundreds. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, you can support Generation 16 through Patreon. Join me next time when we take a look at one of the few American games released for the Genesis in December of 1990. See you then!